luxury courses, there's not that many out there. And I mean, Michael has been to Dubai. You've been, you've traveled all over the U.S. teaching this course. Jonas even took it from you in Cabo.
Yeah.
And so where else has your expertise taken you around the globe?
Yesterday, I was just touring this $72 million condo in New York. It overlooked, it's just beautiful, overlooking the city. And so, you know, getting best practices, having your finger on multiple markets, your pulse on various markets, it's something that doesn't come easy and takes some time, right? But you know, so trust. How do you build trust with the consumer, right? Trust is really important, right? It's like Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro. The circle of trust is difficult to penetrate. So, you know, being authentic, being your authentic self, but also being a value add, but being more of an advisor and a consultant, a great listener versus a pushy salesperson is key.
So tell us a story of what was your very first luxury listing, and how did you get it, and how did you feel when you landed it?
So that's a great question. I'm going to share with you my first. I'm going to call it my first trophy luxury listing. It was about $4.5 million, and I sent the owner a mailer, and he responded, and he responded a couple days after Christmas, and he said, "Hey." Basically Monday, meaning I believe it was a Monday, was the first day after the New Year. So it was the first business day after the New Year. He said, meet me down in my office. I'm down in basically the big Opera Board of Trade building in the city, a 7 a.m. meeting. Now, again, traffic to the city is not like New York, but it's pretty close. And so 7 a.m., like, oh, man, I'm going to have to, and I'm like, do I drive? Do I park? I took the 6 whatever o'clock train. The day before, the high was like -10. So the high projected for this day was like 1 below. But because I was leaving at 6 something in the morning, it was like -10. And so I got there a couple minutes late, which I lost a $10 million listing once by being 5 minutes late. I got the listing back later, but still, it was a good lesson. So I got there late, but you know, I got up to the meeting, and his kind of manager, jack of all trades gentleman was like, oh, he's running late. So I was like, all right, good. He ended up not showing up till about 11 o'clock. They were calling him. They were calling his wife. They were worried that he got into an accident. I mean, again, this is the first business day of the new year. It was really cold out. And I was almost embarrassed that I kept sitting there like, man, I know I look desperate, but I'm not leaving this till I get this at least meeting. So I met with them, hit it off. He said, I'm going to go with you. This was January. We didn't list it until August, 8 months later, because A, he dragged his feet on some things, but 2, we went in there and we weren't just looking to take a listing, even though it was going to be my highest price listing of all time at that point. I didn't want to just take a listing. I wanted to get it sold. And so I brought in my interior designer. We made some recommendations, like the kitchen had no upper cabinets and there was just painting and all this stuff. So we finally listed it in August of 2014, 10 years ago. And the reason I remember that date's because Crane Chicago Business, which is kind of like the Wall Street Journal for the affluent readership here in Chicagoland, I cold called the guy and said, hey, I got a story. I'm not sure if you're interested in it, but it's something like you've probably never written about. I'm bringing in a car transport with 4 exotic cars. I have a horse. I have 2 film crews. I'm putting together a $10,000 video for this $4.5 million mansion. Not sure if that'd be something you're interested in. He asked some questions. Would the owner be willing to be quoted? Would you be? Hold on, let me call you back. He said, I talked to my editor. We're going with it. It's going to be the lead story, not just for real estate, but the lead story overall. So
wow.
It worked out pretty good on that one.
And so you said a couple of things that caught my attention. You didn't want to just list the house, you wanted to sell it. And I think that attitude, that mindset must shift, not just with luxury, with any property, is making sure that it's sellable to the target buyer. And that you proactively went to the media. See, I think a lot of, we all have websites and so forth, and I've done my fair share of media through the years. when you can pitch a story. I remember when we were on 2020, I was part of a group that staged a property, and that was the first national segment for home staging. So I contacted, it was going to be, aired on 2020 nationally. So I contacted my local stations and I said, would you like to do a tie-in to the national? And they said, sure. And so then they interviewed me on the local stations for that, and also for the Today Show when we were on that. So you have to be proactive and reach out to the media and the stories, because they're not necessarily going to find you.
Yeah, you have to be proactive. I look at it as this. Yes, right here. I call it silver platter. You got to give them something on a silver platter, because human beings are lazy by nature. And so the most listened to radio station that human beings most by default listen to is WIIFM. It stands for What's in It for Me. And so when I called, Dennis was his name, he didn't know me.
That's great.
I had prepped ready. I was ready. He was going to be skeptical, and I had to pitch him on the easy button. I basically had to tell him how
that was easy.
I was giving him the easy button story on the silver platter. And so you're absolutely right. You got to know what keeps them awake at night. They like controversial, they like celebrity, they like mansions, they like unique.
They like the visual. I think what we do, with real estate, you had transformed the property. And I don't know if your segment included any of the befores to show the transformation, but just seeing the property itself, people can live vicariously through segments like that. Maybe they could, What is that?
So I teach agents, you don't just need case studies. Excuse me, you just don't need testimonials. You need case studies. A case study is documenting the before and the after, right? So to use a weight loss, one of the most popular weight loss in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s was Jenny Craig, right? You saw commercials before Jenny Craig, after Jenny Craig, right? So real estate agents and stagers, and I work with one of your stagers. She'll be at your big conference in Vegas in January. So will I. But she does an amazing job, and so I put together these books. So this book is a compilation book of about 15 of our most popular case studies, but then we have individual ones, right? So like here's an example of a contemporary home, which we, if you will, decontemporized it so it would appeal to a larger pool of buyers that maybe didn't like contemporary. This was an outdated home, so we had some interior design and some painting and some staging done, and we turned that from an outdated to an updated home. This was a very ornate home. I'm Italian, so I can say this, but there was a lot of Murano glass, a lot of light fixtures, looked like it was straight out of Italy. We de-Italianized it a little bit. This home was so eccentric. This homeowner, I'll show you the page. It's the last page in this. She literally had pillows hanging from the ceiling above her bed. Okay, I've never seen anything like it. So that was the before, and here's the after, right? So we've created before and afters for newer homes, older homes, French country. This one is my favorite, though. This was the taxidermy version. This house had over 100 taxidermist animals in it. Margaret Gere did stage this one. This one was in River Forest, and so it sat on the market with another agent, and they interviewed me, and they interviewed a Sotheby agent. The Sotheby agent says, "Oh, it's fine." I said, "I'm not looking for the practice. If we want to work together, here's what you need to do." And she trusted me. And how did she trust me? Because I had case studies, and I was referred to her, and it turns out it was the highest sale in that community in I think 7 years at the time.
Wow. Well, it's funny. So, and we staged a house. It was either last year or 2 years ago that had 170 animal trophies in it. This guy had built a whole addition to his house. It was like 2 stories, and it wasn't just animal trophies. These things were animatronic. The bats flew around, the bears growled, snow fell.
Wow.
I mean, it was like Cabela's on steroids. And he had, it was set up. It was a scene. He had every animal in North America that you could kill with a crossbow or something. And he's been written up in books. He's one of these, well-known animal hunters. And like one animal that you can get with the curled horn sheep or whatever, supposedly the tag for that is 400,000. He had 4 of them in this display. And I mean, so it was impressive, if you're like looking at that, but I'm thinking like, who the heck is going to buy this place? And there was no place to put them all. And that house actually sold in 60 days. The realtor did a great job marketing it. We staged the main part of the house, and I don't know what he did with all those animal trophies, but yeah, it's funny that I've been surprised by some things. Like you walk around the corner, and there's a deer head or something, and it's like you don't want eyeballs in the house, and you killed Bambi's father and all that. So those
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
challenges. But that's a
There's companies out there that will do like digital removal of items. So I was selling a home that had a water buffalo head and a lion next to each other. And so we digitally removed those because he didn't want to physically remove them. So there's things you can do. But yeah, at the end of the day, you're in the business and I'm in the business. I call it, we're in the dating app, right? People start with the photos, right? People aren't going to look at homes and read the description and then look at the photos. They look at the photos and then they read the description. And so what you do and what you train other stagers is so needed. And many times, your stagers are equipped where they need to articulate their value to the owners as well, because it's one thing if it's coming from the agent, he just wants a quick sale or whatever, but most agents don't have these case studies where, if I do, then it speaks for itself. But stagers, are a huge part of our team.
That is huge. And I love what you said about the dating. So I'll say when people look at pictures online, it's like an interview. And you're interviewing the property. And when you go in person, it's a date, and we're making a match. We're trying to find that perfect match. And so you only get one chance to make a first impression. So you're absolutely right. The books that you have, I'm going to say I have a little slideshow thing.
But the date, oh yeah. By the way, the date, using your dating analogy, you don't want to be one of those dating profile pictures that has the filter on, right? They look
Right.
tall, dark, and handsome, and you get there and he's short, squatty, and bald, right? I mean,
Right. It's
so
deceptive.
there's a lot of deception out there.
Well, that's what virtual staging, and we want to get into that, but that's, to me, it's deceptive because the stuff that they're showing isn't actually real, and sometimes they actually even alter the properties and so forth. But so I did this. What happened to my slideshow? Darn it! Let me see if I can add it back in here. Slides, Michael LaFido. Okay, here we go. So I put these together. So this is Michael is our keynote speaker for the luxury home specialist designation that's going to be taught in Las Vegas, January 25th. And so he'll be part of the group that is teaching that. And Margaret Gare, who is his preferred stager, and she does an amazing job, she'll be also speaking with him. And we're going to have them cover, the luxury market, talk about what it is, and then how to partner as a stager, how do you partner? And there'll be real estate agents in the audience as well. So that's going to be really great. And there'll be a couple more people will be adding to the panel that will talk about pricing a staging project and where to source things. But we're really excited to have you there. So again,
I'm excited. I'm going to be with Margaret. Margaret's amazing. And,
she's amazing.
She's great at what she does, and her filter, sometimes she'll tell it how it is, even to me, which catches me by surprise, but I appreciate that, but I'll challenge her on things in a good way. Be like, hey, why'd you do this? Or have you thought about this? And, it's all about communication, right? And having that line of communication so that you're on the same page.
And the trust that, probably when you first, and we'll talk about this coming up, but when you first probably started working with her, the stager has to prove their value and be the go-to person. So, when you have that relationship, you don't go source any other stagers. She's my go-to person. I trust her. I know she delivers. And that's what, that's all about relationship. But let's look at this next slide here. I thought this was great. I found some images. You're at meet the king of luxury real estate marketing. So you've created a whole luxury marketing group. You're the founder of that. So what is that where the coaching and the books that you showed, are those things that you produce on behalf of your clients, the people that utilize your resources? Or
yeah, so we've written some of our books are consumer benefit only. In other words, my first book I wrote was called Marketing Luxury Group, and it was geared towards a seller, somebody that was going to be interviewing agents. Like, here's to empower yourself so that you can hire the right agent. Then our next book is Luxury Listing Specialist. We wrote that about 7 or 8 years ago, I think 2017. And then the book after that was the most recent one that came out in May, which is called Secrets of Top Luxury Agents. And it hit bestseller in multiple categories. And so we're really proud of that. People can find out more about that book. They can go to free luxury. They can go to secrets of top luxury agent.com, secrets of top luxury agents. And that book is on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's Audible, Kindle, hardcover, softcover. And so those are all ways to give back, right? They're really educational to real estate agents. Now, the one thing that is unique about our most recent book, Jeannie, is there's a bonus section in each chapter. So at the end of each chapter, there's bonus tips for homeowners thinking of selling, and followed by bonus tips for somebody buying a home. We've compiled 212 tips for homeowners interviewing agents, what they should look for in an agent, and 118 tips for buyers. What should they look for in a buyer's agent before signing a buyer agency agreement and potentially paying them? So there are benefits to the consumer in that book as well. And we did that on purpose. We wanted this to be a leave behind that fellow real estate agents could leave on a buyer interview or listing appointment. But of course, we wanted to raise the bar for the industry. And then the last thing I got to plug, that I'm really proud that we just launched this in September, and it's the first day-to-day planner. It's in the bottom left of that picture you got there. It's the first day-to-day planner. It's a 6-month daily planner for real estate agents. Now, I don't know about stagers, but real estate agents are notorious for having sticky notes all over the place, being more right brain and creative and not left brain, linear and organized. And so having a binder, a hardcover binder that they can go to day in and day out, prioritize their day, write down their appointments, write down their follow-ups, and keep it twice a year, right? Because it's 6 months. You literally purchase 2 a year, and you have one succinct binder that is professional, yet keeps them focused, which is all about opportunities. Real estate and staging is all about opportunities. I say
Right.
there's cold opportunities and warm opportunities. Warm opportunities are people that know you, like you, and trust you. Your current clients, your past clients, referring sources, your sphere of influence. The opposite of warm is cold. Cold opportunities are have-not-mets, people that don't know you yet, don't like you yet. And so those in real estate, those could be people at open houses. Those could be mailers. Those could be if you do farming of a neighborhood where they don't know you, but you still send them mailers.
Yeah, and that's true. And I always teach like work your warm referral network to build your business, no matter what you're doing. And as for stagers, it's like, everybody probably knows at least one real estate agent. And then I'm thinking like, how many affiliates do you know that are like us? Lenders, title reps, inspectors, photographers. So you have all these people that are affiliates targeting the same people. So work that network. And I built both my businesses cold. We didn't know anybody. We just moved to the areas where I started companies. And that's the hardest way to do it. But when you're persistent, you can. The luxury. So this is the luxury listing. This is Lux Luxury Listing Specialist. That's the course designation that you have.
Yep.
And that is that you teach that in person. People can also take it online. And then you have your books and so forth. And so those of you that are watching, the reason I really want you to understand Michael's background is because it's a privilege for us to have him come and be at our event and be speaking, because he really is an expert. He has a podcast, and I hope to be a guest on that coming up. But we have, put the luxury designation at the conference on the last day in the afternoon. It'll pretty much take up almost the whole afternoon session because it's important. And it also is updated from the last time that we did the luxury designation was 2018. And so there might be other courses out there and so forth. But for IHOS, we wanted to update the experience. And last time we didn't have an agent speaking. We didn't have the agent partnership. We talked about the mindset of the agent, but we didn't have someone like you there. And the fact that your course is extremely popular. There's actually, we won't get into it today, I'll have to have you back on, but there's actually, those of you that are watching, opportunities for people who want to teach the course.
Yes.
We're working with Michael on that to get some people in place that are interested in doing that around the country. And,
Yep.
I think it's a great course, and you've put so many quality things together, and the resources you have for the books. So you have your coaching program. I believe that's what it falls underneath, the marketing group, the Lux marketing group. You have all these tools. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking at this not just for realtor. As a stager, I'm thinking like, well, God, that's a great idea to put a whole book together of a conglomeration of different projects that you've done. You have your before and afters, and then kind of segment them out by type. And yes, we have digital of that. We have videos and things like that, but it's nice to have this tangible thing that you can show somebody that they can flip
Yeah.
through. Yeah. Do you leave those with people or do you get them back?
I get them back. I've left, I have video brochures, as you know, right? I have video books
Yeah.
that we've
Those are
left
very
with
cool, by the way.
Thank
So
you.
the video thing, it's a Stephen and John got them, and so it comes in a box, and you pop it up, and it's actually like it looks like a laptop almost. It pops up, and then it has a whole video that you've uploaded and embedded. So it's very cool. It's very
Yeah.
slick and kind of sexy with the luxury thing, the gold and
I'll
the
show
black.
you one real quick.
Okay, yeah, you guys will really like this. What I love about what Michael teaches is not just this is what you need to do to get a listing. It's the proper marketing, and I think that's really what has set you apart as an agent in your region and as somebody that has developed something for the entire industry, that how your mind works, that is not just do these steps. It's like the marketing piece of it. It's so comprehensive and complete.
Yeah, I mean, you want to differentiate yourself no matter what industry, whatever you do for a living, right? You need to have a unique value proposition. This past September, I taught to four or five classes at the high school that I went to. It's called an incubator class where these are juniors and seniors, and I taught them about what a unique value proposition is. Why should somebody hire me? There's 45,000 real estate agents in Illinois. Everybody knows a real estate agent. I was just in New York speaking at Mickey Kahn's event. Mickey used to be the president of Luxury Portfolio, and he had a very high class event. And one agent was from Park City, Utah. And she said there's the town is about 9,000 people there most of the year. And out of 9,000, there's 1,900 agents. Now, I don't know if those numbers are accurate or not, but she said for every chairlift, there's 2 agents sitting on it. In other words, during skiing season. So you got to differentiate yourself from the competition. That's number one. You got to articulate, you got to differentiate. Hey, Jonathan Fowler's on here. He said, hey, Jonathan, thanks for popping in. So this is the video book here. It's a way to differentiate. Now, could I show up with an iPad like everybody else? Sure. Or a Kindle. But again, first rule of thumb is to stand out and be memorable. So we have, this video brochure. It's got a 10-inch monitor. There's a welcome message from me on there. And then we upload some lifestyle video examples. Hey, if you hire me, like this one has over 250,000 views. I brought in a couple Rolls Royce, a couple Lamborghinis, and it was a way for me to differentiate this property from the competitors. I was selling a winery. There's a picture of the winery there. And so these are just ways to differentiate where everybody else is showing up, one way. I tell people to show up differently.
Yeah, because you definitely want to stand out. It's the differentiating factor, what makes you unique, and it's really cool. It's not like I couldn't afford an iPad, so I had to do this thing. This thing is actually, I think, a step up because it's very specific to luxury, and the things you can put in there, the videos you upload, are customizable to whoever has the display. So I think your tools are amazing. And so your luxury marketing group, is it you do coaching as well for agents? One of the things Michael will be doing is also, we'll talk about the class he's going to teach on the 26th in Las Vegas. He'll teach a full Lux class. So we're going to get a location for that, and it's open to any agent. They can fly in for it. We would hope you would attend our conference and then go. There'll be some special pricing for that, but it's one of his live classes, and he's given up his weekend for us. And he's a family man. You have how many kids?
I have 3 kids. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have 3 kids. So I typically don't like to travel on a weekend, let alone a Saturday and Sunday, but you're doing some great things for the industry. So we made it happen. Yes.
I appreciate that. And what were you going to say about your coaching and the previous?
Yeah. So we do right now, it's really word of mouth, and we're not out there pushing it, so to speak. We also have a program which is kind of unique. It's called our closer program, just like Major League Baseball. They bring in the closer, where if somebody's got a big trophy listing that they already have, but they need help, or they need help preparing for it, we'll be part of that team, and we'll help them co-list it, co-market it, be there throughout the transaction to assist them to get it sold.
Well, and I can say personally, we really appreciate that, because I know Stephen and John have contacted you. And most recently, I had the opportunity, this house goes back 2 years that I first saw it. And then all the interest rates went haywire, and it's an investment property that was being flipped. So it sat there. And then, and these people I was working with, they ended up like, having properties never sold, and they ended up owing me a lot of money. I'm like, I'm not going to even pursue that because it's the relationship. And I just let them know, I said, everybody had a bad time with it. So flash forward 2 years, now this property is ready to be sold. And so they contact me for staging and so forth. And the original people I worked with, they would list the property. So I thought they were the realtors. And so about, I don't know, a week before I'm supposed to stage it, they're like, oh yeah, we're interviewing agents. I said, what? I said, I thought you guys were listing the house. I said, now wait a second. My husband and son are both luxury certified. And I said, I would love to get them to talk to the homeowner. And so we got them slipped in there, and they were competing against 3 other agents that had already done their pitches and, great expertise and so forth. And I know Stephen was on the phone with you calling for strategy, and they ended up getting the listing. It's a 1.8 million. So, awesome. And that's a great listing in our area. So your coaching definitely is valuable.
Well, thank you. We try to, give what's working today. Not a lot of fluff, but what's working today. Everything from the blocking, the tackling, the fundamentals, the positioning of a home. I use the word positioning. It's much more than staging, right? Yes. Positioning is knowing what today's buyers are looking for, knowing what to show, what not to show. Some agents show way too much. We just put a $2.3 million property on the market. They didn't stage it. They say, we'll stage it next spring if it doesn't sell. I brought Margaret through there. I think it was a mistake, but whatever. So we've had a second showing already. In other words, a buyer came through once, they came back a second time, and hopefully they're going to be putting an offer in. But my point is, the previous agent had 50 something photos, or I know our photographer took over 50, that's for sure. And I think 30 something made the cut, because I didn't want to show a bunch of dated bathrooms or bedrooms. It's like, my job is to accentuate the best features and downplay the least favorable.
Yep. And I think you shared, I don't know if it's this particular property, but where the house was kind of dated, but the basement had been finished nicely. So you led with the pictures of the property, areas of the property that really were the most enticing for buyers. And then, so there's a whole strategy behind how you present things.
There's a lot of strategies. Yeah. Yeah, so I did a video like that once, right? I've only done one where, the first that I showcased on the inside was actually lower level. So we did a lot of the outside because it had the sport court, the pool, and then we showed the lower level, the basement, a lot of entertainment. Then we did some of the main level, including the kitchen, but we didn't do any bedrooms. Everything was dated, right? So it's like, I want to, hook, story, close, right? So the hook, you got to get them intrigued so they're interested, then tell the story, and then the closing, well, call to action, get them to come through the home.
That's great. And so from your expertise on, because you're a real estate agent, successful luxury realtor, listing specialist, but you're also an educator, and you've developed courses. So why should somebody come to the conference and attend the session that you're going to be doing? And why should somebody come to your class on the 26th?
Yeah. So the thing I tell agents all the time is, what is a sale worth to you? And what would you cheerfully invest to get a new sale and differentiate yourself, right? So our course is under $1,000 in real estate. Do the math, right? If you could sell one extra home, in 2 years, you're gonna 3, 5, 7x, 10x. I'm not even talking luxury. I'm just talking average price property. So obviously that's no brainerish. I always start, when I make an investment, worst case scenario, what will I have to do to break even? This is no brainerish. I mean, it really is. So it's a small investment of your time and your energy and your resources. But the key is you got to implement, right? I mean, we all have seen, books or packages and courses where they don't implement, right? So you got to take action. Just do it.
And education is so important. I know there's our industry is like a little microcosm of the overall real estate industry. And I've been in this 22 years. And so I could be like, well, I know everything. I don't need to go to a conference. Where are they going to teach me? I know everything because I've been doing it that long. That's a fallacy mindset, because things are always changing and evolving as far as how businesses are built, marketing strategies, and so forth. You said Johnny Fowler is on. He's going to be at our conference talking about everything that he's so amazing at, including AI and marketing and algorithms, and they continually change. And if you're not educating yourself and taking the time to invest in you, then you're falling behind, because the people that do take the time to get the latest credentials and stay on top of how to do things are the ones that are going to be the 20% grabbing 80% of the business.
Yeah, 80-20 rule. You're absolutely right. I mean, I was in Miami earlier this week. I was in New York yesterday. I mean, literally, iron sharpens iron. Who are you surrounding yourself with, right? You hang out with 9 overachievers, 9 stagers that are doing well, you're going to be the 10th. You hang out with 9 stagers that stay at home and they're complaining the market sucks, you're going to be the 10th, right? So who do you surround yourself with?
Really important mindset. Well, I'm so excited to have you joining us in Las Vegas. That is January 24th and 25th. And Michael will be the keynote on the 25th. Johnny Fowler, we're going to have him on the show. He'll be on the 24th. And I know the content is going to be really valuable. And then we'll be sending out the information to agents in Las Vegas and actually everywhere to be able to attend your course on the 26th, because you can't take it online, but it's nice to be live. And I don't know how many live courses you teach per month. How many do you do?
Yeah, so this will be on May 14th, excuse me, on November 14th. In 2 weeks is going to be our 7th in-person Lux designation training for the year. We've done them in Scottsdale, Miami, Houston, Cabo, Mexico, so far this year. And obviously yours will be, as of now, the first one in 2025. So we do about 7 to 12 to 14 a year in person. And even if you take our in-person course, you still have access to our online. So in other words, we give people access to Lux University, where if they need a refresher, or I don't cover much in depth on a certain thing, they can log in and go deeper and have full access for 1 full year.
That's great. So, you can tell Michael is a savvy strategist. I have to say that, marketing. I don't know if your background is marketing. What was your background before you became a realtor?
I was a teacher. I was a high school health teacher, football coach, and taught sex ed to freshmen. That wasn't easy. And I taught gym class, and I coached football and wrestling. And so motivating, getting the most out of people, making people feel good about themselves so they'll have more confidence and be more successful on and off the sports field. That's what I did, my first, 12 years full time. And then I became a part-time real estate agent in 2000 and started to be really successful at it. And I was told I should teach others. So I created a product called the Ultimate Listing Blueprint. It was a box of 4 CDs and 2 DVDs, 12 modules. And from there, I had somebody purchase it, and they were in the luxury space, and I coached them up. And I realized that, there's a lot of people in the luxury space that need coaching up. And that's when I made the shift in 2014, 15, 16. Our designation came out in 2016. This book here came out in 17, and then kind of the rest is history. Our podcast, we just released our 300th podcast. I think it's being released today, I want to say. And that our first podcast was February of 2017. So, 7 years later, 7.5.
That's excellent. And your podcast is streaming on, we have it actually listed on our iHosp site on the Hive Pro channel. So we list different podcasts, and yours is included, as well as other industry experts. And so I think, the knowledge that you share, and by the way, people watch it, Michael's just a really likable person. He's just you're humble, you're so smart and savvy about what you do, but you don't have this arrogant attitude like, I'm a luxury specialist, thing. And, you're very real.
There are a lot of luxury agents that way, right? I mean, they're unapproachable. They think, they're blanked and stink, and everything else. So it's like, I'm more Midwest in my approach. I think it's more relatable, but, I'm a lion too, we got to go get the kill and get in the morning and bring it back. So I got that mentality too. The Mamba mentality, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Well, it's great. So those of you watching this now or in the future, because we're going to download it and share it everywhere, make sure to connect with Michael online, look at his podcast, make sure to watch that, and then come to Las Vegas, earn the new LHS designation. It'll be the newest one for the industry, very different than last time. And then look to attend his class on the 26th. We'll be sending information out. Any last words, Michael?
No, hey, listen, you are who you surround yourself with. You hang out with 9 overachievers, you'll be the 10th. You hang out with 9 dead broke people, you'll be the 10th as well. So, what are you listening to? What are you reading? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Again, I'm a big believer that best marketer beats best agent, best marketer beats best stager. But if you're an amazing stager and an amazing marketer, you're going to be the best, number one trusted in your industry.
Very well said. Well, thank you so much for being on, and I look forward to seeing you in January, if not sooner. And thank you for all your wisdom, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.